The most wonderful time of the week is here. Only a couple more of these for the regular season. Let's get into it. It is time for bold predictions. It's time for score predictions. It's time for all the predictions from yours truly, Spencer Holbrook, and the other side of my screen. No, that's Mick Walker over there from Lettermen Row. Thanks for joining me, Mick. How's it going? Happy Friday. Welcome into the Thunderdome that's known as Bold Predictions.
I love a good bold prediction show. It is my favorite show of the week, and I believe we get to use the term which I love to use is penultimate, right? Penultimate bold predictions of the regular season. There
Yeah,
we
that's
go.
right. Yeah, that's
Ten
right.
$10 word right there, or whatever it would be. So I'm proud I got to use that word. I'm proud to be here with the show, with you on this show, Spencer.
Well, let's see if it is the penultimate show uh, of 2025. Because if it's the penultimate show of 2025, something has gone awry. Because that means that we're not going to Indy for the Big Ten championship game, and also that probably means that we're playing that we're going to be covering a first round playoff game, which something would have to go awry. So let's just make sure nothing goes awry, Mick. That's the word of the day, I guess, is awry. What's your first bold prediction? I'm going to give you honors on the tee box, but if you take mine, I might kneecap you.
Oh no. We talked about this young man or this gentleman on our Thursday show here of kind of what we learned this week. I'm just going to keep it simple here, kind of just try and hit one down the fairway. I'm going to go Mylan Graham touchdown against Rutgers. Just see number 5 get in the end zone. I think they tried to do it last week. They've been trying for a little bit now. I think he'll finally get it done against Rutgers.
Okay. Well, okay, you didn't take mine. Because my first bold prediction is that Julian Sayin is going to throw for not one, not two, not three, not four, 5 touchdown passes in the first half. I think he's only going to play one half of football. I think he's going to throw 5 touchdowns, and then I think the Buckeyes are going to get him out and let Lincoln Keenholz have the second half to operate. I think they want to do this. The way that Julian is coming back next year makes me think we don't put people in the transfer portal at all, but there is reason to think that if Julian's back next year, which he will be back next year as the starting quarterback for Ohio State, it's hard to see Lincoln Keenholz coming back. I think Ohio State will treat this as a good day for Julian or for Lincoln Keenholz, just as it will for the seniors. And so I think they're going to let Lincoln run some of the offense. So I'm going to predict that Julian Sayin and this offense light it up in the first half, and they get the starters out. They get all the pieces that they need for the Michigan game out, and they let Lincoln have the keys to the Lincoln or to the offense. See what I did there in the
Could be a
second half.
Lincoln too.
And so I'm going to predict that Julian Sayin has 5 touchdown passes. Here's the other thing about this, Mick. They launched a Heisman campaign the day after the Penn State game. Julian Sayin was fresh off 2 straight games with 4 touchdown passes. In his last 2 games, he has 2 touchdown passes and 1 interception. If you're going to win the Heisman Trophy, young man, you got to get your numbers up. And I think Ohio State understands that. And so as much as the run game is going to be able to feast against Rutgers, I think they're going to, even when they get down into the low red zone, I think they're going to be throwing the ball, getting Julian Sayin his numbers. So give me 5 touchdown passes for Julian Sayin in the first half. It's probably my boldest one of the year.
I love that one. For my second one, I always like to flip offense defense. I'm going to go with the heart here. Maybe not the most logical choice, but I'm going to go with the heart since Rutgers wants to pass the ball, since they're from New Jersey. This guy's going on his senior day. He's from New Jersey. This is kind of the school that he knows growing up, the local school. I'm going to go Davison Igbinosun picks off eighth and Callie McManus on Saturday. Gets him one on senior day. That's my sentimental defensive bold prediction.
Okay, wow. Wow, okay. Uh, my second bold prediction is also on defense. It is involving Rutgers running back Antoine Raymond, who I think is a really good player. He has 1,000 yards on the nose this season. He only had 29 rushing yards against Illinois because they were trying to come back in that game. That's his lowest of the season. I think you know where we're going with this, Mick. I think he's going to be held even lower than the 29 rushing yards he had against Illinois. This Rutgers offensive line is not good. Antoine Raymond has been able to make chicken salad out of you know what. He's got 3 100-yard games this year. Last week against Maryland, or 2 weeks ago against Maryland when they last played, he had 41 carries, Mick, for 240 yards. So if you cut that down by 10, that's 24 yards. I think he's going to have less than 29 yards. New season low in the rushing total for Antoine Raymond. I also think Rutgers knows the deal here, that they're not going to be able to win this game, and they need to get the bowl eligibility next week against Penn State. And so I think the effort in as far as trying to get to a bowl game is going to come next week against Penn State. And by the time it's time for Antoine Raymond by the time it's time for Rutgers to try to come back in this game, I think they're going to kind of mix in some of the guys that aren't starters, make sure that they're healthy for next week, trying to get to a bowl game under Greg Schiano. That means a lot to that program, and I'm not trying to disparage that program, but I just think the volume of carries and the defense that Ohio State plays is going to be, both of those factors are going to lead to him having a season low in rushing. So, something like 9 carries for 19 yards or something like that. I just don't see him having a good day at all. And so why not make it a little bold and say that he's going to have his lowest rushing total of the year, even if that means he's going to be held under 30 yards for just the second time in his career.
Gotcha. I was going to try and throw you off a curveball here and see Rutgers, Penn State, who gets bowl eligible, but that would be assuming Penn State beats Nebraska this week, and I just can't even do that at this point. So who knows who will be if that's a fight for bowl eligibility in Week 12. But
man, wouldn't that be fun? Wouldn't that be fun if we got 5-6 Penn State against 5-6 Rutgers?
There's only one school or one team in that matchup that I think truly wants to win that. And I think it's the Schiano man wants to get one. He wants to play you a song.
Yeah, sing us a song.
Sing us a song. There you go. My third and final bold prediction. I've gone Violent Graham. I've gone Davison Igbinosun. Now I'll just try and go team wide. I kind of like yours for Julian Saint-Pass for 5 touchdowns, but I'm gonna flip it on its head. I'm gonna go Ohio State goes 200 over 200. This is a Spencer special right here. He loved this one for a while. It didn't come to home for him, but I'm gonna go Ohio State rushers for 200 yards against the Scarlet Knights on Saturday.
You know what really bothers me, Mick?
What?
There's a lot that really bothers me, actually. So against Penn State, I predicted Ohio State would run for 200 yards. Against Purdue, I said Bo Jackson would have over 100 yards. And then last week, I didn't make a rushing bold prediction for like the rushing total, and then they went over 200 yards. I was pretty upset because I think Brian Hartline might be listening and just doing the opposite of what I say, which is fine. I would probably do that as well. It's like fading me on the stock market. I'm like the Jim Cramer of Ohio State football, if you will. I tell you to buy, you should sell. I tell you to sell, you should buy. I guess. I don't know if that's something I want to really hang my hat on, but it just seems. It just upset me last week when it was the first time I hadn't predicted a rushing total bold prediction, and then they go for 220 rushing yards and just decimate UCLA on the ground. So, here's to another rushing bold prediction. I think James Peoples is going to run for 100 yards in this game. Here's the deal, Mick, and it kind of dawned on me. So I make my way down to the field last week. We're allowed down on the field at Ohio Stadium with under 5 minutes to go in the fourth quarter. So with about 6.5 minutes to go, I send myself the link to my story so I can publish it from the field. I hit the elevator. I go down in AA deck. I go down to the field. I'm standing there while I'm walking over near the end zone, which is the end zone James Peoples ran into with under a minute to go. I'm looking around the stadium, and then I look at the sideline. I'm like, oh, the backup offense is in. They don't have any other running backs to play. So in the second half, when they're running the clock out, there's no back to hand it to that you don't need against Michigan and Indiana and all of the programs that you have to beat to win a national championship. If you want to run the clock out, you're either handing it to Bo Jackson, you're handing it to CJ Donaldson, you're handing it to Isaiah West, or you're handing it to James Peoples. And James Peoples was RB du jour last week. And I think they're going to try to keep him hot, keep him ready, because I think he's really starting to make some strides. And so the fact that in the fourth quarter, even when you're running the clock out, one of those guys is going to get carries, and Rutgers' backup defense is even worse than the starting defense at stopping the run, I think James Peoples is going to go to over 100 yards in this game.
If that hat behind you does not say conductor on it, it says something similar about running the ball, but we're not going to repeat the exact words on it. I do think you kind of need a conductor hat at this point because it seems like you are driving the James Peoples train, which I would like the ticket for, but I don't know if I can drive it like you are right now.
I mean, it was the run against Penn State that made me ask Ryan Day about it. He said he's practicing better. talked to James after last week when he has that hurdle, and he doesn't like brag about himself. He just says, yeah, I'm practicing better. Like, the whole program understands what's going on here, and he's gaining confidence with carries. He's gaining carries with confidence. And so whether it's the chicken or the egg, it doesn't really matter. He's really playing well. And so I think he's coming along at the perfect time for this team. And they're going to need him because, you know, Michigan is a big stage, and he none of these guys, none of the four running backs understand that, but one of them could become an Ohio State legend if they have a good game against Michigan. Like, who better than the guy who, if I'm being honest, who we included, all of us doubted at the beginning of the season. So I just think he's playing really well. It's an easy bus to drive right now. So we'll see what happens. I think he's going to go over 100 yards, if nothing else, because there's no one else to hand the ball to in the fourth quarter. Just because, it's the four that have been playing, and then like Turbo Rogers is the fifth running back. He hasn't been healthy all year. So I'm not sure if Rutgers is the time to rip the Band-Aid off, proverbially and literally, and get him out on the field to get some game reps. I don't know if that's in the cards right now for him. So I'm just going to bet that people get some fourth quarter carries, racks up some yards against a bad Rutgers run defense, and goes over 100 yards.
I love that one. I asked you this question before the Penn State game, or it might have been sometime in late October. I said, Spencer, will we see Tavian St. Clair in another game this season? Do we see Tavian St. Clair on Saturday?
Probably. If nothing else, to take the knee. Quinn Ewers played 3 snaps at Ohio State, man. 2 handoffs and a knee. So it wouldn't surprise me if Tavian's in there in the fourth quarter late in the November game. We'll see what happens. Mick, I'll tell you what is going to happen. Absolutely. Minus 1,000 over at BetMGM is for me to have a Modelo this weekend. The college football season's in full swing. College football season is Modelo swing. If you're listening to this right now, it means it's time for a reward. Reward your full-time fandom to the Ohio State Buckeyes with an ice-cold Modelo. Modelo is the official beer sponsor of the college football playoff. Ohio State fans, you deserve a Modelo, so go buy a Modelo today, thanks to our friends over at Modelo. And, of course, it's time, Mick. It is officially time for the Saturday Showdowns. Take your excitement to the next level with a Parlay Boost token from BetMGM. Log into your BetMGM account to receive your token, then add any college football parlay to your bet slip and apply the token. Just make sure to bet up to the minimum stake, odds, and legs specified on the token. If your boosted parlay hits, you'll score an even bigger payout. Claim your Parlay Boost token and make this season unforgettable. BetMGM, make it legendary. See BetMGM.com for terms, 21 and over only. U.S. promotional offers not available in New York, Nevada, Ontario, or Puerto Rico. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Available in the U.S. 1-877-8-HOPE-NY or text HOPE-NY to 467-369 in New York. Call 1-800-NEXT-STEP in Arizona. 1-800-327-5050 in Massachusetts. 1-800-BETS-OFF in Iowa. 1-800-981-0023 in Puerto Rico. First bet offer for new customers only. Bonus bets subject to eligibility requirements. Rewards are non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire in 7 days. In partnership with the Kansas Crossing Casino and Hotel. Mick Walker, Ohio State is currently a 31.5-point favorite over those Rutgers Scarlet Knights, those pesky Greg Schiano-led Rutgers Scarlet Knights on Saturday in the Horseshoe. What is your final score prediction? Totals at 55.5.
I'm going to go 38-3 would be my final score prediction for this game. I just think that those mid-30 number, I think, is Ryan Day is fine living in those right now, especially if you're going to hold the other team under 10 points. You can kind of just get in and get out. You don't have to open a lot up. You win by, more often than not, you cover in those situations. You win by a lot. You get out of there. You get the freshmen some reps, and everybody goes home happy on Saturday night.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I can see that. That is a cover. That's straight to cover town. Mick Walker's taking you guys to cover town. For the Ohio State Buckeyes, that also is flying under the total. Here's the thing, Mick. It's been a weird year for Rutgers. The defense is terrible. Oregon scored 56. Illinois only scored 35. Washington only scored 38. Iowa scored 38. I think Ohio State could name its number here. I don't think that it will, but at the beginning of this episode, I predicted Julian Sand to have 5 touchdowns, and I also predicted James Peoples to go over 100 yards largely in the second half. So if I'm going to do that, I feel like I have to be into the 40s because he's not going to run for 100 yards in the second half and then not score. I think I was at the beginning of the week, I was at like 38-3 with you. I think I'm going to go 45-10. just because I think they're going to get one additional touchdown in the second half and then kind of pack it in. And I think it would be good to get Jaden Fielding a field goal on senior day. So, there could be a 4th and 4 from the 23-yard line in the third quarter, and it's like, hey, let's kick a field goal, let Jaden have his final field goal in Ohio Stadium. I think there's a level of that could happen here. So I'm going to go with 45-10 as the final score. If there's one thing this Buckeyes defense has loved doing recently, in a really weird way, it's give up 10 points, man. They've given up 10 in each of the last 2 weeks. Penn State scored 14 on them. I don't know what it is. It's a 10-point thing right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and say that Ohio State's going to give up 10 again for the third straight week. If they give up 10 for a fourth straight week, I think they'll beat Michigan, by the way. But I'm going to go 45-10.
It's funny, you said it's a name your number game for Ohio State, and you said, well, I don't think they're going to do it. Well, I think 30 or 40 is just a number that they write down to try and get in and out of the. They kind of put the foot on the gas as far as they can, just kind of ride the engine, and then they shut it down, put it back in the garage. They don't really. We're not going full Kirk Cinetti, Joey McGuire here, naming our number at 70, because that's not what Ohio State or Ryan Day really care about doing at this point.
No, it is not. No. And like I said, Oregon scored 56, but that was a week before Oregon played God knows who. And I don't think Ohio State cares enough to try to get to 56 in this game.
The week after, was that the week after the Penn State game? Or it might have been
a couple weeks, maybe.
Okay.
Right around then, though. Right around mid-October, I think.
Oh, you know what? It might have been the week after Indiana. That might be what I think. I think Oregon went out to the East Coast to kind of exercise some demons on Greg Schiano's squad.
Yeah, poor Greg. We'll see Greg again. The last time Greg and Ryan Day were in the Horseshoe, they almost squared up, thanks to Jesse Mirko. So that should be a good little reunion. The last time they were in the Horseshoe against each other, Greg was over near the Ohio State sideline chirping because Jesse Mirko decided to go rogue and fake his own punt. It was a hell of a play by Jesse Mirko, but man, you almost got Ryan Day in a boxing match with the Schiano man.
Isn't Jesse Mirko still kicking it around down there in Nashville? Or is he out?
I don't know. We'll see. Speaking of Nashville, I've got some bets for the week. You want those?
I always love your bets every week.
Virginia Tech plus 17.5 is my lock of the week. Miami's in town. It's going to be cold, and Miami doesn't play well in the cold. And Virginia Tech is going to have James Franklin at the 50-yard line before the game. It's going to be his first time in the stadium seeing Enter Sandman. And I think the place is going to be completely packed because every Penn State commit from the last 25 years is going to be there visiting to see if they would rather play at Virginia Tech with James Franklin than whoever's going to coach Penn State, since it seems like all their candidates are staying at their current jobs. So I'm just going to go ahead and take Virginia Tech plus the 17.5 and think that we're going to get a good effort from the Hokies in front of their new head coach. I think Northwestern is finally going to win a game at Wrigley Field. The Wildcats have never won a game there. I have Northwestern minus the 3.5. I just think that's something that's going to happen. Let's see, what else do we have? I haven't, to be honest, I've been pretty busy this week with some. The Austin Ward special. Wyoming minus 6.5. We'll take them over Nevada. That game's at home. I think the weather's going to be pretty wacky there. And then BetMGM currently has it at 9.5. I'm sitting it out and waiting and potentially seeing if it gets to 10.5. If it gets to 10.5, I'm going to take USC against Oregon. But if it's at 9.5, I'm probably going to stay away. Oh yeah, Syracuse plus 35.5 against Notre Dame. That's too many dadgum points. I don't care.
Starting with a 35-0 lead. How can you lose, Spencer?
Oh, leave it to Syracuse. They got a lacrosse player playing quarterback. We'll see what happens. But I'll trust the Franimal and the Orange against Notre Dame. This is always fun, Mick. It's just rattling off picks. That's not betting advice. It's just who I'm taking. So you'll know if I'm broke. You'll know
Fran Brown.
Yeah, you'll know if I'm broke or not. Yeah, we'll see if Fran gets the shower. If he beats Notre Dame, maybe he'll shower. That's all we have. I don't know, guys. This is a little off the rails. Next week's probably going to be even more off the rails because we're going to be previewing Ohio State, Michigan. Maybe we'll even get one of those Michigan guys from the Wolverine on here. We'll see what happens. I'll talk to him, see what happens. That is Mick Walker. I'm just Spencer Holbrook. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Thanks for being here. Thanks for taking part in the program. Come join us over at lettermenrow.com. the Lettermen Lounge message board. We're talking about the injuries. We're talking about everything. We're talking about Ohio State football. Mick's talking about softball over there. It's a good time. Good time is had by all, but I'm pooped, so I'm getting out of here. That's Mick Walker. I'm just Spencer Horbuck. Thanks for being here. We'll see you guys over at LettermenRow.com. We'll see you in the Horseshoe on Saturday for Ohio State and Rutgers.